go home. Y'all know that TikTok. I wanna go home. That's how I feel right now. Can we thank God for the gift of Pastor DJ Kreiner? That yeah, I can't even say nothing. Um, he it's good. First off, let me say this: can we thank God for the vision, for the faith, for the fortitude to step out and to start this conference? Can we thank God for Dr. Brian K. Wyatt Jr.? Come on, y'all, we could do better than that. Um, I'll say this to you. Um, it takes faith to do these things. And I know when you make a step, it's difficult because you don't know who's going to step with you. But I want to encourage you that remember who called you and that remember who gave you the vision. That God wouldn't give you something that He hasn't already prepared for you. And so once again, can we thank God for him? Because this takes faith. This is a much needed conversation, a much needed space. I want to thank God for all of those who have spoke. Bertina, Dr. Wyatt, Lady Wyatt. Can we thank God for them as well? And I want to give honor to Bishop Chantil. I'm going to do my best to give him some of my time so he can have all the time he needs to close us out. To give you a little bit about myself, I'm honored and humbled to be the pastor of the Macedonia Baptist Church. Um, a little bit about myself. In a space like this, I'm not a Californian by birth. I've been adopted by now, but I'm originally from Houston, Texas. So I'm a Southern boy. So if you hear some twang, if you hear a little bit of something, if I start talking fast, I get excited. Don't hold it against me. It's just my Southern in me. But I am privileged and honored to talk about something that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's preaching and teaching. But I also know that the space that we're in, that everybody's not a preacher or teacher, and so I want to add something: preaching, teaching, and reaching. Preaching, teaching, and reaching. And when he gave me this assignment of when it comes to millennials, I have a two-part assignment of preaching and teaching and challenging those who are millennials that are preaching and teaching and reaching, and then talk about how do we reach, teach, and preach to millennials. And so the first part I want to deal with is preaching and teaching as a millennial. As of 2021, there was a survey that said 29% of adults have left the church. And they said that the millennials were leading the charge of leaving organized religion. Right? And so with that being said, there is a challenge for the church. Because let me say this, if we walk in the church and we see no babies, we see nobody younger than us, then we have a problem. And so here it is, as a millennial preacher and teacher, the first thing that I want to give to you to write, because I want to be thought-provoking, I want to challenge your thinking, I want to challenge you, that before you are over, who are you under? I want to say this to my millennial preachers, teachers, and reachers. Before you are over, who are you under? The reason why we have so many churches on each corner is not because everybody is called, because somebody went rogue. The reason why we have so many churches It's because somebody went rogue. Because we live in a generation where nobody wants to be held accountable. We live in a generation where nobody wants to be chastised. Now, get a little bit about myself. I'm 36. I am young. I started preaching at the age of 9 years old. So I was raised under old school preaching. And when I say old school preachers, they will call you to the carpet in the midst of other preachers and will literally strip you down just to build you up. We had old preachers. We had old preachers who did not sugarcoat anything but chastise us because they loved us. And so the problem is now we have so many young preachers and teachers and reachers who are gifted, but they don't want to sit under somebody and learn from under somebody. And so here it is. I want to challenge you that before you say, I'm called to be over, I'm called to do this, sit under somebody and get some sound teaching. Including myself as a pastor, I have a pastor that I submit to, catch this, not to just learn how to preach and teach, but learn how to be a good father. Learn how to be a good husband to my lovely wife for 14 years. Wave your hand, baby. But I'm going to go further. Learn how to be an integral husband. Okay. I'm not going to go too far in that. Learn how to be an integral husband that after, because he opened the door and I'm going to walk in it after I preach to go to my hotel room by myself. Okay. So here it is. I have to worry about who I'm under. But then the second one that I want to challenge is the standard that we preach is not just for those who we preach to, but it's for us too. The standard is not just for those we preach to, teach to, reach to. It is for us too. The problem that happens, and I want to give you this. This is my understatement. When there is no integrity, we lose the power of our witness. When there is no integrity, we lose the power of our witness. And so what we have to understand at the end of the day is, and I say this often to my church, listen, as the word is cutting you, you can't see it, but I got Band-Aids on myself. That before I gave the word to you, the Lord cut me up, the Lord sliced and diced me. So I'm giving you a word that I bled on last night. That here it is that, again, we have rogue preachers, but we have preachers who have no integrity, who preach and teach a gospel that they feel like they're not held to the same standard. And so here it is tonight. Here it is this afternoon. Today, I want us to be challenged that as we teach, let the word whoop us first. Let the word straighten us out first before we try to straighten out anybody else. Are we good? But here it is. I want you to not worry about being over first, be under. Worry about the standard. But I'm going to go deeper. Work at your craft. The problem that I have with this one right here is that there's too much flash and not enough substance. And what has happened in our churches is that we are raising people that all their diet is candy. Their diet is soda, cake, but they do not have steak, potatoes, green beans, no substance. And we're wondering why when somebody says something to somebody, they leave the church. I'm not blaming the people, I'm blaming the leader. Because what did you feed them while they sat under you? And so here it is. My question is to you. Here it is, is that the problem that we're having is that we're preaching so much for likes and for popularity, and we forgot that why we even preach. Jesus didn't call me so I can drive a BMW. Jesus did not call me so I can get an honorarium. But he called me so that others might be saved by the preaching and teaching of his word. And so here it is. I want you to understand something. You have a responsibility that every time you stand behind a desk, you must be factual. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, boy. The problem that we're having is that nobody wants to spend time and study. My mama taught me, she said, boy, go read 2 Timothy. And I want you to meditate on this verse. Study to show thyself approved. A workman needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. Now we taking the word of truth and making it look like lies. Because we don't know the truth ourselves. And catch it said the word of truth. And some of us, because of our lack of integrity, we try to sway the word so that we won't have to be cut by the word. So here it is. Spend time and study the word. See, here it is what I tell people all the time. And me and Pastor Kreiner was talking about this in the back. And me and my big bro, Pastor Burrell, we talk about this all the time. Preaching is sacrifice. That's why I question anybody who runs to this. Because this is sacrifice. I like going out on Saturday nights and having dates. But because I know my responsibility on Sunday morning is to preach and teach to people who are hurting and who are broken, I have to spend time with God so that I may be able to be factual on Sunday morning. See, the problem is, and I blame us, we've made preaching and teaching attractive. We made it attractive because of how we dress. How many people in our entourage? How many people are coming with our water and our Gatorade? We've made it attractive, but they don't understand it's a sacrifice. But not only is it a sacrifice, you are welcoming demons to come against you because of what you do. This ain't part of my script, but I got to give you what the Lord has given me. And so here it is where I must understand I have a responsibility. Here is what I always tell my people. So I always tell my people, I've done enough sin in my life that when I get to heaven, I don't know how I'm going to pay account for all of it. I pray the Lord give me a new mind, because I'm going to be like, Lord, I don't know how to answer this. So I've done enough I have to answer to. And I don't want to add shedding innocent blood to my list that I have to answer to when I see him. I believe that we need to understand the responsibility that you have lambs and precious lambs that God has entrusted in you to speak life into them. And you must not stop seeing color, stop seeing people, but see how God sees them. Yes, sir. So when I see them, I understand that they are hurting. Pastor Kreiner was preaching last night. And I didn't say nothing to him, but I was concerned because I can see the level that he was going into. Right. And when we got back in the office, he says, man, have you ever preached and you preaching not your hurt, but other people's hurt? That you're behind a pulpit and you carry the burdens and the weight of other people. Here it is. That's why you must have a study life. Because people look at me all the time. Like my preachers And even my wife knows this. When I start staying in a space on a Sunday morning, you leave me alone. Because I am already tapping into and seeing what has to happen. Sunday mornings is work for me. I have a clock in, and I'm going to work. Here it is again. It's all, so let's go here. Let's go here. Thank you, Holy Spirit. Let's go here. So not only should I study, but I should spend time with God. You should have time where you spend with God just in prayer. Because in prayer, he will lead you to how you should reach, teach, and preach as a millennial. We good? Okay. Be more concerned with the heart moments than the viral moment. Be more concerned with the heart moments than the viral moments. We are living in an age now where social media and internet and Facebook and IG is king right now. And so now we are more so trying to do it for the likes, for the popularity, for the blue check. The blue check to be verified by people, but I'm looking for the check to be verified by God. And so we've come to the place now where we're saying things for the viral moment, but we forget it's about the heart moment. What does that mean, Pastor Jay? That means that every time we get behind here and get in front of people, that there has to be a heart moment. That people are coming because they're hurt. It's 2023. Ain't nobody coming to church just to come to church no more. It's 2023. We can go home and watch it at home. We can give at home. We can sing at home. If the pandemic tells us anything, we can do it all at home. So if people are coming to church, what are they coming for? They are not coming to be entertained. But they are coming because there's something that they need, and it's our responsibility to go to the heart moment. What does that mean? That I'm trying to, with the word of God, I want the word to penetrate the heart of the people. So I'm more concerned with the hearts. I say things sometimes, and I know it's ignorant. But I say it because I'm more concerned with the heart than I am with you saying, oh, he's so profound. He's so educated. Because catch this, it's not about that. It's about the souls. Because we have forgot, and this is what we say in Macedonia, souls are the goal. So every time you study, every time you pray, every time you preach or you teach or you reach, always know what the goal is, that the soul is the goal. All right? Here he is. We shouldn't dress better than the word we preach. We should not dress better than the word that we preach. John wore camel's hair and a leather band tied around his waist. But John goes down in history as one of the greatest evangelists. He wore camel's hair and a leather band around his waist. But he'll go down as the greatest evangelist. Why do I say that? I'm not saying anything is wrong, but I'm saying is if we put more stock into what we wear than what we preach on Sunday morning, there lies the problem. That I should pour more stock into the word of God than what I wear. I had a pastor who wore a black suit and a white tie every Sunday. And I used to say, well, Pastor, why do you do that? He says, I do this because I don't want them to see me. I want them to see Jesus. He taught us, don't wear too much flashy jewelry because it will begin to become a distraction to the people, that they're more concerned with what he has on, how good he looks, than the word that's being preached. Here it is. Know why we preach and know what to preach. Know why you preach. Know why you teach. Know why you reach. And know what to reach, what to preach, and what to teach. What does that mean? What does that mean? I preach because of Jesus. So because I preach because of Jesus, I preach Jesus. I'm going to say it again. I preach because of Jesus. I preach because he died and he got up. And so what do I preach? I preach Jesus. That somewhere in the message, Jesus would be somewhere there, because they taught me, now this is my teaching, that the only way somebody can be saved is through the word of God. But they got to know who did the saving first. So while we talk about relationships, while we talk about marriage and all those things, that's good. It's great. We need that. But if we tie it all back to Jesus, because Jesus taught us about relationships. Oh man, come on, y'all. Don't. If we tie everything, because let me help you with something. Because if you tie everything with Jesus, you'll teach people how to treat people. Jesus taught us how to pray for our enemies. Oh, y'all want. So here it is. I need to know why I preach. I need to know what to preach. I preach because of Jesus. I teach because of Jesus. And I teach just that. That may be boring to some. But I love how the word is fresh every time we open it. So here it is. I question, if it's boring to you, I question, who are you tapped into? And it becomes boring and dull to you, because every time I've seen Psalms 23rd 1,000 of times, but every time I see the 23rd number of Psalms, something new jumps out at me. So here it is. I know why I preach, I know what to preach, but I need to know my audience. I need to know my audience. Let me say this. Let me say this. When I started pastoring, I started pastoring at 27 years old. Started church in Hampton, Virginia, and at that time, no senior saints would ever come to my church. I tried, but the word out was, this is what they said. Well, I just think he's too young, right? So who came? I had a church. The oldest member was 50. So I knew my audience. I had college kids, right? So I had to preach a word that was not over their head, but that spoke right to them. Here it is. In the church, we cannot be afraid of any topic. Okay, ain't nobody gonna say too many things. Because we are reaching and trying to teach people who are dealing with real life issues. I'm not going. Every topic. I have 3 daughters. I have an 18-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And we got to talk about things that I never thought that I would have to talk to them about at this age. And so here it is. The world is talking about it. So why not the church? And we're wondering why our youth, our young people, our millennials are being led astray. It's because the church is afraid to talk about these issues, and we're allowing the enemy to run ravage in our homes and our schools. So here it is. I have to know my audience. Now, I told you, I had a young church. When I got called to Macedonia, I have a church that literally, and I'm blessed, I have Gen Z all the way to post-World War II. I got 90s, and I got 9 months. Every generation in my church is represented. So on Sunday morning, I have to have flavor for everybody. That yes, I'm 36, but I don't just quote Biggie, but I quote Minnie Riperton too. I don't just quote Minnie, I quote Sam Cooke too. Why? Because there must be flavor for everybody. And so here it is, as millennials, as we preach and teach, as we prepare, know your audience. Know who you're talking to. And don't be that one that says, well, this is who I am. You have to have an adjustable screw. Now, we know why you preach. You know what to preach. You know your audience. But here it is. Know your assignment. Know your assignment. Who are you assigned to? Oh boy, I'm going to get in trouble. Preachers and teachers, stop looking for the next hot thing, for the next hot church, for the next hot assignment. Work your assignment until God releases you. When I got called to Macedonia, and I say this to my church a lot, and I had to say it in a way because they thought it had something to do with them, had nothing to do with them. I said to them, because I knew this assignment, I did my best to run away from it. And I told them, had nothing to do with y'all. I love y'all. Y'all great people. But it had everything to do to know what the assignment was. You ready for this? Because what I wanted to do, Pastor Jay, that when my wife retired from the military, when she's retiring March 31st, I wanted to move right back to Houston, get me some acres, build my house, and ride on my lawnmower. That's what I wanted to do. And here the Lord says, that ain't what I want you to do. I want you to pastor these people. That's my assignment, right? And so as my assignment, I work it. I'm not looking for no other church. Oh, y'all better help me here. I'm not looking, because I'm going to tell you, in my honest opinion, I pastor the greatest church. That's my opinion. And pastors, we can argue all day long. But here it is, I know my assignment. And so because I know my assignment, I'm assigned to it. Catch this, and I'm faithful to my assignment. Because God can't bless you with another assignment if you ain't been faithful over the one he gave you. So here it is. Know your assignment. I'm gonna give you Bible on that. Paul in the jail. Now we always talk about, because this is what we shout, at midnight. Paul and Silas prayed, and the chain. Well, listen. We can tune it up real good. But here it is. Have you ever asked yourself, why did he stay? Because here it is. How did he even get there? Because he had a vision from a man at Macedonia to say, come here, because we have need of thee. And so when he got to the jail, he could not leave because he didn't see the man yet. And it wasn't until the chains was loose, the man came in the room. And so here it is. Can you stay when the doors are open, knowing my assignment is still not fulfilled? He stayed and he was free. So oh boy, that's good. Just because a door is open doesn't mean that that's the end of your assignment. Every open door is not for you to walk in. All right, how am I doing on time? Okay. Okay. Here it is. Now let's switch to preaching to millennials. Teaching to millennials. Let's switch. The first thing I want you to, in big, bold letters, be real. Be real. R-E-A-L, not R-E-L. You know, the Instagram people. No, not. Be real. Here it is, what attracts millennials is when they can see the word before it's being preached. When they can see the word before it's preached. What does that mean? That your life is the greatest sermon that could ever be preached. So one thing about it, be real. Don't sugarcoat it. They don't want sugar. They want the truth. So it's our job to be real. So here it is. You need to deal with your issues. What does that mean? We grown. Let's do it. You need to heal so that you can be able to talk about what God has brought you through. Because millennials want to know, how is this word relatable to my life? I know David killed Goliath with a stone, but how is that relatable to me dealing with my baby daddy? How is that relatable? When I have more bills than I have Skrilla. So here it is. We must be real. But here it is. I want to go here. You cannot preach or teach to a generation you fail to understand. Before you can preach and teach to millennials, get to know them. And let's stop saying, they just unreachable. Let's stop saying there is no hope for them. No, it is hope for them. They just need somebody to spend some time with them. If we follow the model of Jesus, Jesus hung with them. Jesus sat down with them. And as he sat down with them, oh boy. And that's our problem. Our problem is we're trying to reach them, we're trying to teach them, and we're trying to fish and catch them, but we don't even know what bait to use. We don't even spend time with them to know what they're looking for. We don't even spend time with them to know what they're thirsty and hungry for. So here it is. You have to, if I'm trying to reach them, if I'm trying to preach to them, I need to sit down to understand them. Listen, I'm going to tell you, millennials are a smart generation. Let me help you with this. Let me help you. Some of them got a theology, with the school of theology. I can't even say the word. They theologians. Let me say that. I told y'all I'm country, so sometimes the words. Some of them are theologians already. So we try to preach to a generation that know the word backwards and forwards. So I need to understand them. I need to get to know them. But then I want to say, preaching to millennials, lace everything we say with love. Lace everything with love. Because some things are just going to be a hard pill to swallow. But even my mama, when she gave me medicine, she gave me some orange juice. So here it is. Ah. Woo, I love it. I love it. So here it is. Here it is. So for those who are watching, they were said, give us a little chaser. Don't give it to us so straight where it burns going down. Put a little cranberry juice with it. Oh, y'all better help me here. Y'all better help me here. Don't act like you've been saved all your life. You know, when you want that Hennessy, give me a little Coke to go with it. So here it is. Here it is. We must lace it with love. Because the Bible tells us, with love and kindness have I drawn thee. We cannot draw them by whooping them. We cannot draw them by just browbeating them and whooping them with the word. But here it is, it's love. Because let me go ahead and put a bow on this. Love hung on the cross. And the same love that was extended towards us, we need to extend the same love to the people we're trying to reach. So here it is. I want to give you this. Validate their skepticism. Give me the word, babe. Say it loud. Skepticism. There you go. Validate it. Why do I say validate? One of the biggest reasons why many millennials don't feel comfortable in churches is because they feel like how they feel is not welcomed. Sermons that resonate with millennials validate their doubts and questions of faith. Be willing to share your own struggles with doubt and faith and what it taught you. Also, don't assume all your listeners are Christians. Here it is. I'm going to give you something that me and my wife do every so often. That instead of doing a traditional, we do Bible study virtually, but instead of doing it traditionally, sometimes we sit down in front of the camera and we talk real life. We talk about our real life experiences as people, as humans. Catch this, Sister Dale, catch this. Not as pastor and first lady, but as humans that serve in those positions and deal with human stuff. Right? Here it is. My wife had a miscarriage. How do you deal with that? Young people, millennials, need to know these things because they're dealing with these same issues. We talk about our marriage. Our marriage ain't perfect. And too many times, what we do is try to put on a facade. And that's why they don't want to tell us about the issue because they feel like we won't be able to relate. But when we tell them, yeah, I almost went to the divorce court. Yeah, there were some days I slept on the couch. They'd be like, oh, you too, huh? Well, how did you deal with it and how did you become better? When we tell them I had a problem with alcohol. When we tell them I had addictions, drugs, money, women, and intercourse. When we're honest with them, then they will feel like I'm normal. Because that's why our millennials are having problems because they feel like I'm going to a place that cannot relate to my issues. So I need to validate it and say it's normal. It's normal. I'm going to give you something. I got to go because I think my time is up. My time is up, isn't it? I got to go. Okay, I'm done. But I hope and pray as something was said to bless your life. God bless you.